Hello and welcome to this video in the Elements of Innovation Elite Inventor Crash Course. I'm Chris Frank, the patent guy. In our previous videos, we learned how to come up with ideas using the 4 types of inventions and the problem and solution statements from the patents of your competitors. Now that you have become an invention machine, how do you tell the good ideas from the bad? That's where this video comes in. The innovation equation. How to tell if your ideas, or those of others, are any good, and why the know it when I see it method doesn't work. In this video, I'm going to show you the invisible secret that separates the great ideas from the rest, and how you can use this to come up with better ideas of your own. We're going to start with the simple example of luggage on wheels, and we're going to see if we can derive an innovation equation that separates the good ideas from the bad, that can be applied not only to a simple idea like this, but to more complex inventions such as those relating to the self-driving car. As we discussed in our previous video, there's been 2 variations of luggage on wheels. One was a success and one was a failure. Let's see if we can decipher the difference. We'll start with the benefit that each offers, or in marketing terms, this would be the value proposition. And in fact, it looks like they both have the same value proposition, yet one was a success and the other was a failure. How can this be? This happens often in the product world, where we ask customers what they want, we give them what they want, and they don't buy it. And then we blame the customer for not knowing what they really want, when in fact the problem is not with the customer, it's with us. We don't understand the full innovation equation. In this case, the value proposition is that you don't have to carry your suitcase. But what's missing to explain the difference? Let's turn now to the rest of the innovation equation. Here is the second element of the innovation equation: effort. What effort is required in order to achieve the benefit? What effort is required in order to achieve the value proposition? In the case of the first suitcase with the narrow wheels and the flexible handle, it falls over unless you go really slow and turn corners very carefully. In the case of the second suitcase, which is a success, you just pull and go, and you can even be in a hurry. Understanding that people are mainly using these suitcases in an airport in a busy, hurried environment, you can understand now by looking at the effort why one was a success and the other a failure. We can also begin to derive our innovation equation. And here it is. The innovation equation is benefit minus effort equals innovation. Let's apply some numbers to this somewhat arbitrarily in order to illustrate our example. The benefit of not having to carry your suitcase is a 5 on a scale of 1 to 10, for example. But the effort in order to achieve that benefit is a 6 in the case of the narrow-wheeled suitcase. When you subtract the effort from the benefit, you get a negative innovation and you can predict a failure. And so our insight from this is very simple. The benefit must be greater than the effort required to achieve it. Otherwise, your idea will fail. Let's look at the winner. The benefit is still the same, still a 5. Same benefit, same number. But the effort is significantly reduced, a 1, let's say. As a result, you have a positive innovation. The benefit is indeed greater than the effort required to achieve it, and therefore you have a successful innovation. That is the innovation equation. We now have 2 insights that we can gain from this. The first being that the benefit must be greater than the effort. The second being, interestingly enough, you do not have to invent a new benefit. You don't need a new value proposition, you just need to focus on reducing the effort for an already existing value proposition or benefit. That's our first example. Now let's get into some more complex examples. I call this the social network example. I'm not going to call this the Facebook example because I'm basing this off of the movie The Social Network that I saw something like 10 years ago and I haven't watched since, but here is my impression that I will use to illustrate the innovation equation. In that movie, the character that plays Mark Zuckerberg wants to become friends with members of the opposite sex. So on a scale of 1 to 10, the benefit of this would be a 10, according to that movie. The problem being, at that time, if you wanted to become friends with someone, you had to go through the effort of talking to them. And for someone who is socially awkward or even a little bit shy, the amount of effort required on a scale from 1 to 10 might be insurmountable. Thus, the standard methods at the time for becoming a friend was a negative innovation. Enter the invention of Facebook. You can become friends with a single click. This becomes a positive innovation even for a person who is socially awkward or shy. This is a brilliant example of the innovation equation at work. You receive the benefit of a friend without having to go through the actual effort of talking to them. What can we learn from this Facebook example that you can apply to your opportunities? Here is the big insight. You can reduce the effort by redefining the benefit. We still have the same benefit here, becoming friends with someone, but we reduce the effort by redefining what that term friends means. We are friends on Facebook. That doesn't mean that we talk on the phone for hours on end. That doesn't mean that we even send emails to each other. It just means that they accepted my friend request. We have redefined the term friend. To illustrate this further, let's look at another example. Here we have the Guitar Hero example. Let's say you want to achieve the benefit of learning how to play guitar, and on a scale from 1 to 10, that would be a 10. It would be a great thing to be able to do, but once again, the effort might be nearly insurmountable. You're going to have to spend 5 to 10 years of practice for 2 to 5 to 7 hours a day in a dingy basement. Probably not many people willing to go through all of that effort. And that's why there's a lot of people that own guitars that can't play them. But along comes Guitar Hero. In this case, the benefit has been changed from learning how to play the guitar to playing a video game with a guitar-shaped controller, but the effort has been greatly reduced. All you have to do is choose a song and press play. We've turned playing guitar into a positive innovation. Just as we saw in the Facebook example, the Guitar Hero example did the same thing. We redefined the benefit. And in this case, we redefined the entire experience of what it feels like to play the guitar. You can't actually play the guitar by playing Guitar Hero, but you get the benefit of what it feels like, what the experience of playing guitar in a band in front of a live audience would actually feel like, without having to go through any of the effort of actually learning the instrument. This is another great example of the innovation equation at work. Okay, now we've gained some key insights of the innovation equation. Now let's apply some of these insights to some ideas for self-driving car technologies and applications. Okay, before I get too deep into these examples, I just want to point out that these are just some ideas that I'm throwing out there. I don't claim that these will actually work or succeed. You always need to test, always need to talk to your customers. But nonetheless, these will illustrate the points that we've been covering and show how they can be applied to the self-driving car technology. The example that I've chosen here is the job of getting groceries. What if we someday lived in the world of self-driving cars? I still am going to have the job of getting groceries. How might self-driving cars help me in getting that job done? Well, let's first look at the status quo here. Let's just say the benefit of getting groceries for a person like me is a 5, meaning I'd rather not do it, but sometimes I have no choice and I have to. What's the effort required in order for me to get groceries? I have to go through several different steps of effort. I have to manually drive my car. I have to actually shop through the aisles of the grocery store. I have to stand in line and pay at the checkout counter. And then I have to manually drive home. And I suppose I have to put my groceries away when I get there also. It's a lot of effort, especially for someone who's not all that interested in cooking. So in the end, we can say that grocery shopping, at least for a segment like myself, is a negative innovation, something I only do out of necessity. Okay, but what if someday there were self-driving cars? How would that change the entire equation for someone like me? Once again, my benefit remains the same. I still need groceries. I still need something to eat for breakfast. My effort might be reduced to some extent. Instead of manually driving to the grocery store, my car would drive me there itself. I still have to shop though. I still have to pay though. and then my car can drive me back home. So I've reduced my effort by maybe 1 or 2 points. I've put here a minimal improvement, making it a 0 innovation, and maybe depending on the person you might give it a +1 or a +2, but still there's a lot of effort involved if I want to get groceries, especially considering my time involved has not changed at all. So using the innovation equation, what type of ideas might we come up with to make the self-driving car a real game-changing innovation? Here's one idea, and not all that original, but nonetheless, it illustrates the point. Once again, my benefit I'm seeking to achieve is to get groceries, and it stays as a 5. Don't care all that much. But if I turn my effort into a simple click of the button, I order my groceries online, and I have a self-driving car, I can send my car without me in it to go pick up my groceries for me. Now I've gotten rid of a lot of effort. I don't have to shop, I don't have to wait in line to pay, and I don't have to drive my car either there or back again. I've significantly reduced my effort using self-driving car technology. Now we have a positive innovation. Now let's take this even further. Now that we've got the idea juices flowing, let's try one more idea. Now that it's easy to get groceries, maybe I can actually increase the benefit by changing the definition of grocery shopping. What if grocery shopping doesn't mean me having to decide what things to buy on the spot in the grocery store? What if instead I could buy prepackaged meals? That might be a greater benefit than traditional grocery shopping currently offers. Likewise, on the effort side of the equation, maybe I don't even need to own my own car anymore. Perhaps the grocery store has its own fleet of autonomous vehicles that will deliver the meal pack that I've ordered to me directly at a scheduled delivery time. Now I have an even more positive innovation. So that's just a few examples of how you can use the innovation equation to come up with better ideas faster, no matter what technological area you're working in. So let's review. What are the key insights that we've learned from this video? Insight number 1, the benefit must be greater than the effort required to achieve it. Very simple formula, but often overlooked. Insight number 2, you don't need to invent a new benefit. You need to focus on reducing the effort required to achieve that benefit. That is how you win in the innovation game. Insight number 3, you can reduce the effort by redefining the benefit, redefining what it means to have achieved that benefit. And better yet, insight number 4, redefine the entire benefit by redefining the entire experience for the customer. That's the innovation equation. Thanks for listening to this video. In our next video, we're going to go over the patent landscape. We're going to specifically be looking at the Waymo patent portfolio, and I'm going to show you 5 categories of white space opportunities that you can find by looking at the patent landscape. See you there.